Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show, and as I'm sure you're aware, I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey, George Kamel, everything they do. I'm really a fan, even though we have disagreements every now and then about debt and 30-year mortgages, we still get along. But one thing is certain that we both could agree on. Broke TikTokers are back at it again, and they're spreading such bad information. Like, it really makes you wonder, what on earth is going on? We have failed with financial literacy, and I want to comment on that today as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe. And also, big thank you to Built for sponsoring today's video, but more on that later. Let's begin.
If you are in hot girl debt, I got you. Here's exactly what you're gonna do. This was my first year ever being in debt, and it has been one of the most stressful experiences of my life. I do not recommend it. Avoid getting into credit card debt. It's not cute.
It's funny, hot girl debt. I've never heard of this before. How this differs from non-hot girl debt. Like how attractive do you have to be in hot girl debt? Is that better? Does that mean the interest rate is lower or something like that? The more attractive you are, the lower the interest rate you get. I've never heard of this. She's just making up words on the spot. This is just word spaghetti being thrown at the screen, and she's hoping you're gonna pick up on it. I'm not picking up what she's trying to get at here, what she's putting down. I don't know.
My schemer dad taught me this. He's a self-proclaimed cockroach to society. Step 1, you're going to research new credit cards with 0% interest for 18 months. There's going to be an option for you to transfer your debt. Now, I'm going to warn you, there is a one-time transfer fee of $200, but you're basically paying that transfer fee so that you can be interest-free for 18 months.
Now, the thing is, she's not wrong about this. If you're in massive credit card debt, and you want to help get yourself out of it, and you're paying 24% in interest, there are credit cards out there that offer you a low balance transfer fee. They're 18 months, 12 months sometimes, maybe a little bit longer, completely interest-free, and if you're responsible about it, yes, you could actually save a lot of money. Just consider you have $10,000 of credit card debt at a 25% interest rate. You're spending $2,500 a year in interest. Or if you transfer it to a different credit card with 0% interest, you're saving $2,500 in a year that you could then use to pay down the debt. It's fantastic. Now, the argument against this is that it really just excuses your behavior that got you into the situation to begin with. And you're more likely to spend more money on other credit cards because now you've consolidated your debt. It's at 0% interest. You have an extra $2,500. And there's nothing stopping you from just going and opening up another credit card and starting the process over again, and then you're in worse debt. If you have the self-control to actually pay down your debt and take it seriously, yes, it gets my thumbs up of approval. But if you're going to still have the same habits that got you into the situation to begin with, it's bad because you don't really grow or learn from it because you're just going to say, I got it handled. I'm going to do it again now. So you got to handle the underlying issues if this is going to work. So technically she is correct, but psychologically a lot of people are going to screw themselves up over this. Let's see what George has to say.
Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a girl in New York City chasing my dreams.
Okay. There's a lot going on here that I think only a therapist can unpack. Number one, what the heck is a cockroach dad?
It's probably better if we don't know.
Okay, a cockroach dad is probably someone who's a leech on society. He's probably doing the bare minimum, kind of using the system a bit. It's basically just a cockroach on the leech. He's leeching from the system. And that's what she was growing up around. That's what she was accustomed to. She wasn't taught proper financial habits. That's the way I interpret this. If there's a different meaning to cockroach dad that I'm unaware of, please correct me in the comment section. I'm all ears. I could be wrong on this one. That's my initial take.
So what she's talking about here is opening a new credit card and paying a $200 fee in order to transfer your debt so you can delay paying the interest you owe. So the hot girl debt hack is to move your debt from one debt to another debt because that gets you out of debt? Here's an even better hack. Just freaking pay off your credit card debt and cut it up.
So here's the thing, I really like George Kamel, but we have fundamental differences on psychology and credit cards. Now, I like to believe that the reason he's saying this is because for the average person out there, for the normal Joe Schmo on the street, it's probably better that they just pay off the credit card without transferring debt because, like I said, they might be more likely to transfer the debt and then have an extra credit card that's now available for spending, and they're just going to spend it back up again because they haven't solved the underlying issue of money problems, okay? I like to believe that people have some resemblance of self-control. Even if it's just the people who watch my videos, they have some level of functioning where they could understand the principle behind, I may as well save $2,500 because I can. I could use that towards paying off the debt, and if I pay it off a little bit faster, it saves me money that I could then invest into my 401k. Something like that. So this is exactly why it's so important to take your finances seriously. Like, most people completely overlook the best ways to make the most of their spending. Like, for example, take a look at rents. Literally 1/3 of the United States spends money on rent every month. And typically that's just money out the door without getting anything in return. But thanks to our sponsor, Built, getting rewards for paying your rent is easier than ever. For those unaware, Built is a loyalty program that lets you earn points on rent, and then you could redeem those points for hotels, flights, fitness classes, and even your next rent payment. Not to mention, they've also been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. After all, we already could earn points on travel, groceries, and practically everything else you spend money on, so it makes sense that we could also earn points on rent, which is one of the largest recurring expenses for the average person. And best of all, there's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll get to earn valuable points on rent and everyday spending, all of which could be redeemed throughout over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world. The way I see it, there's no reason not to be earning points on something you would be spending money on anyway, so feel free to sign up with the link down below in the description or the QR code on the screen right now, and make sure to use my URL so they know I sent you. Plus, in addition to everything I just mentioned, they could also help you build your credit score when you choose to have Built automatically report your rental payments to the credit bureaus each month. So again, if you're interested, feel free to use the link down below in the description or the QR code on the screen to begin earning points today. Thank you so much, and now let's get back to the video.
I eat Uber Eats every day. I never cook. Calling the valet, getting downstairs in the elevator, getting in the G-Wagon, sitting in traffic on Biscayne, trying to find a parking spot at Publix, getting the food, going home, parking again, going back up the elevator, getting the pots and pans out, cooking like a idiot. I'm cooking, saving money. Nerds.
Justin Waller's hilarious. We've had him on the podcast, the Iced Coffee Hour, twice. Listen to those episodes. They're hilarious. So he has a way with words in this, and of course, if you're getting in the G-Wagon to get 8 miles per gallon, driving 20 miles to the grocery store, having to spend hours of your night trying to cook food, yeah, obviously it's gonna cost more money than just going and getting Domino's or Papa John's or Chipotle or whatever. But I would say, objectively, eating at home, just cooking something basic at home is so much cheaper, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You just get like one of those crock pots, basically. Throw a whole bunch of stuff in there, let it simmer for the full day. At night, it's just cooked. It's not burnt, it's nothing. Even, by the way, there are just cheap places to go and get a good meal. Chipotle is an example of that, where $11, I get 2 meals out of it. I get dinner, and then I also get lunch the next day because you just pile on all the stuff on it. It's a lot of food for the money. Yeah, it's cheaper to still, there's plenty of other options out there. But yeah, Justin is right. If you're driving a G-Wagon, having to go down 50 stories from your penthouse apartment, having to drive 20 miles, and yeah, okay, fine. In his case, it's cheaper. For most people, it's not.
This man represents everything wrong with society.
I gotta get valet and get my G-Wagon? What a tough life.
This man clearly has never darkened the door of a grocery store. Okay, and it shows. The part that makes this even better is his caption, "Why cooking is for broke boys." You know what is for broke boys? Uber Eats every single day.
The thing is, this is just rage bait. That's all it is. It's saying the most outrageous stuff, putting that in a clip, knowing it's going to trigger half of the people out there because they don't see it for what it is, which is basically just like a dopamine spike in their brain to go and make a comment that then re-engages that video all over. That's all it is just rage bait. Wake up to the rage bait. It's just saying crazy stuff. I mean, I don't think the average person really sees this and is like, just losing their mind. But anyway, let's continue.
They're upcharging for every single item you purchase. There's a delivery fee. You got to tip, and if you're not tipping, you hate your grandmother. So all this adds up to a guy who works out too much in a tight shirt telling you that
if you want to be like me,
buy Uber Eats every single day.
Yeah, Uber Eats is the biggest ripoff, unfortunately. I have every now and then I'll get a gift card for this, like Uber Eats, and I'll be like, all right, I got $25. What can I get? It's so expensive. He's right. Let's just say a Chipotle at the store is $9. Well, on the app, it's going to cost you $12. And then all of a sudden, there's a delivery fee on top of that. And then all of a sudden, you have to tip on top of that. And then there's a tax. And by the time you're done with it, it's like $25. You're spending probably 2.5 times the real cost of the item to get it delivered to you. In some cases, sure, if it saves you more time than your time is worth, maybe that's a positive ROI. But again, it's just so objectively expensive. It's usually just, I see the prices and I just immediately click off.
Nothing's new, nothing's new.
So here's the caption, which I think helps set the scene here. It says, "So many years felt like the same day, just trying to survive and get through to the next one."
You know what? Honestly, I hate to say it, but like the more I'm getting into this whole thing, it's like it's a scam. How is it not the biggest scam ever in the world? Student loan debt. Think about it. I mean, it just primes you to work a job that you don't like, to be a cog in the system, just to pay off debts that you didn't need in the first place, to keep you on the hamster wheel, and then by the time you finally pay it off, you're just now starting at like ground zero again at 35, 38 years old, and you can't afford a house yet because now you just paid off the student loans, and your career and your investments have been set back because you spent this time in college. The money, it's a big scam. It's a scam. That's all it is. I think certain college degrees absolutely can be worth it if you're very intentional about what you do, get a good degree at something at an affordable price, really work as hard as you can to pay it. Like, in certain circumstances, yes, legitimate, not a scam. But for a lot of things where it's like, I don't know what I want to do, so I may as well spend $60,000 getting a college degree on who knows what, so that way when I'm 22, maybe I'll have an idea. No, bad idea. Bad. If you're watching this at like, and you haven't gotten to college yet, and you're in that weird phase, figure out really what you want to do, or go to community college first. Like, get those 2 years out of the way at a really affordable price, and then determine if college is the right choice.
If you're someone who has $10,000 in liquid assets, why is that not in a savings account?
She's got a point.
A high-yield savings account, a regular savings account, or am I totally off base? And are all of y'all just walking around out here with $4,000 to $10,000 in your checking account on the daily? What the?
Yeah, it really just depends on what the person's overhead is. The thing is, I tend to believe that in a checking account, it's totally fine to have like 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up in there, just depending on if you run a business, what your daily overhead is like, at least like 2 to 3 months worth of expenses in a checking account, totally fine, and then the rest could go into a savings. So if these people are spending, let's say $5,000 a month between like a mortgage, property taxes, health insurance, car payments, family expenses, food, all of that, makes sense. Have a few months worth of expenses in a checking account just available to go on a moment's notice, or just keep it in a savings and then you can move it over. Some people also just confuse checking with savings. So it's like, for a lot of people in their assets, they kind of like the same thing because you could just move the savings to a checking at any point. Some savings accounts, you could just have like amounts taken out of it. So, between the two, it's not as unbelievable as I think it is. But also, it also depends on the area. Like if you're asking in New York City, Los Angeles, Miami, you're going to get a much different answer than, a small city in the middle of America.
When you're just living life, and remember, you are in credit card debt. I remember being in these shoes. Back in 2013, I was 40 grand in debt, and I was feeling a little anxious, a little frustrated, a little angry, a little scared. But the way I got out was using the debt snowball method that I mentioned earlier. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to cut up the credit cards. I'm done with this. I'm going to use my own money. And that's when I really started to build wealth and make progress.
See, that's really good advice. I agree with that wholeheartedly. If you're in credit card debt like that, it's worth it. Or maybe take the advice of the first girl and just transfer it, at least pay 0% interest, but pay it off. Pay it off. The credit card debt is the worst debt you should have. I'm always an advocate that you should never put money on a credit card that you can't pay off immediately unless it's an absolute emergency and you have no other choice. It's better a credit card than like a payday loan or anything like that. So like there are tiers to this, but if possible, assuming it's discretionary, put money on the credit card every month that you were planning to spend anyway, and then pay it off in full before it's due so you don't pay any interest whatsoever, but you get some cash back. That's about it. That's what you should use credit cards for. It's a bit of a buffer between you and your payments to get some money back and to get some consumer protection with your purchase. That's it.
Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why?
Did you catch what he said there? He said, we're debt-free. We own everything. We can do what we want because of that.
I agree with that one as well. I think it's fantastic they do that. Part of me wonders how much of that is just a really clever marketing ploy. Like, it sounds great, and I'd like to believe them that it's like, yeah, we have no debt. We could afford to do this. I don't know if they have shareholders or investors to answer to, but I also wonder if it's like that branding, seeing that in the store. Because I distinctly always remember, you walk into a 7-Eleven, you see the thing, and it's big printed right there, 99 cents, like on the can itself. and you just see that. It's like, well, that's nice. Let me buy that. Do they also offer like other products or something? Because I'm wondering if that's like gets people in the door. Same thing like with the Costco chicken. They sell that below its cost just to get people in the door, makes them hungry, and then they spend more money. What do they got? They got energy drinks. They got Arizona hard iced tea. They have Arizona snacks, ice pops, fruit snacks, snack trays. They have merch. Wow. Okay. So maybe that's just a loss leader. But I also think it's fantastic that they have a 99-cent product these days that really puts them above the rest. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to link to George's channel down below in the description. I highly recommend you go and follow there as well. And also, big thank you to our sponsor, Built, who is down below in the description. Again, if you pay money in rent, you could at least get some rewards in return for that. So with that said, thank you so much. All the links are down below in the description. And until next time.